The Clay County Sheriff's Office is investigating the discovery of human remains found in the St. Johns River. This is off of Highway 17 in Fleming Island. Around 5 today, a homeowner called 911 about skeletal remains on the edge of their property. A dive team responded near the Doctors Lake Bridge. This is still under investigation, and crews will continue their search for evidence tomorrow morning.
Welcome to another episode of J Inclusive. Please share, like, comment, subscribe, and set your notifications on so you are alerted every time I upload.
Well, just into the newsroom, authorities say the remains of a man found in St. Johns River in Florida have been identified as Nicholas Lamont Anderson.
Dancing in the middle of this TikTok is 24-year-old Nicholas Anderson. His family says he was a huge piece of the puzzle that held the family together. But in April, that piece went missing when Anderson didn't return home from a trip to Jacksonville.
It broke us. It was hard. Yesterday was very hard for us.
On Thursday, more than a month and a half since Anderson was reported missing, law enforcement in Florida say they found his skeletal remains by a retention wall on St. Johns River outside of Jacksonville.
Once we got the information that it was him, we had to call our family members to let them know that it was him.
That's Monica Tucker, Anderson's aunt. She says her nephew went down to Jacksonville to meet a guy he was talking to on a dating app. But when it came time for him to come home a few days later, he never made it to his bus. So they tracked down the guy who he went to meet, and that's where his family says things get weird.
First he said he didn't see him. Then he said he took him, he went to the hotel to watch movies. And then he said he took him to get cigarettes. And then he said something about he wanted to go to the pier.
Though according to Tucker, police cleared the man. She also tells me Anderson was diagnosed with schizophrenia about 3 or 4 years ago, but was on medication.
He would never hurt himself. And he knows how to swim. So there's no way. So I think it's foul play.
As of Saturday, Anderson's family still doesn't know how he died and are still waiting to learn about the circumstances surrounding his death.
Mary Anderson is heartbroken over her son's death, and while he did face some challenges of his own, she is sending a stark message to parents out there about letting their child use dating apps.
Nicholas was a quiet soul. He stood in the room quietly, but you knew he was there.
This is how Mary Anderson remembers her son Nicholas. He traveled from Atlanta to Jacksonville in April, met up with someone on a dating app, but never returned home.
She said, Auntie, did Mom tell you that we haven't heard from Nicholas? And I said, no. And then when she told me that, my heart just dropped. And I just knew something wasn't right because he speaks to someone in the family often.
Anderson's family filed a missing persons report with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. In May, the Clay County Sheriff's Office found human remains in the St. Johns River off of US 17 in Fleming Island. On August 1st, the Sheriff's Office announced those remains were identified as Nicholas Anderson. Mary notes that her son had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, but he was on medication. She says he would never hurt anyone. Now, she shares this message to parents about dating apps.
Just be precautious. I mean, because of course, we're in a social media world, but however, we have to be mindful that, everybody that's on there, aren't nice people, and their intentions are not for happiness.
Turning now to a one and only exclusive. The victim of an armed robbery at a hotel is now opening up about those frightening moments.
He says a man he recognized from a dating app pulled out a gun before taking off with the cash and his phone. Local 10's Rosh Lowe is in Miami Springs with the exclusive. Rosh.
All right, let me set this one up for everyone tonight. So yesterday we brought you this video exclusively. Dramatic video, this guy being pushed into a hotel room, an armed robbery on video. So logically, I said to myself, we want to talk with that guy. And today we met up with him. He shares his story. So you just meet this guy on Grindr.
Yes, sir.
And then next thing you know,
my life is in jeopardy.
We're not going to show you his face, but his story, wow, it's frightening, and so is the video. You can see the suspect, say Miami Springs police, Sergio Morales, forcing this victim inside his Miami Springs hotel room. You're nice enough to say, okay, I'll give you $20, right?
Yes,
and so you go to your door, and I want to show people at home. We have the video, but what is he doing? Show me.
Yes, from my door, from the angle of the door of where I was at, he's forcing me to go in.
And you're resisting.
And I'm trying to resist from him, like, no, I don't want to go
and
in.
All of a sudden, you hear the slide of that gun.
Right, and that's when I hear the slide of it, and then it's like, oh, Basically, if I don't give in to what he's saying or do, then I'm finna be dead.
Once inside the room, cops say Morales, who you see here in bond court, made the victim get on his knees while pointing a gun at him and taking $400 in cash.
And then that's when he has me sitting right there in front of the refrigerator, and he got the gun to my head.
And you're down like this?
Yes, sir. I'm down.
Do you feel lucky to be alive?
Yes, I'm very grateful by the grace of God to be alive. Because anything I would have did, I probably would have been dead. I probably wouldn't be seeing this today.
Defendant rack and slide the gun. Said he was going to kill him.
Cops say the victim recognized Morales from the dating app Grindr while walking in Miami Springs. They say the suspect begged for money. The victim went to his hotel room to get $20, but then was greeted by Morales. Back to the video. Cops say he racked the slide of this gun and threatened to kill the victim.
He has the gun right to your head like this, and you're down here and you're thinking, I'm going to die.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you even imagine? He was nice enough to try and get $20 for this guy. The next thing you know, he's on the ground, he says, with a gun in his face, and he really thought he was going to die. He's sharing his story because he wants to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. In the meantime, this suspect facing a whole bunch of charges, including armed robbery. We're live in Miami Springs. I'm Rosh Lowe, Local 10
Man
News.
accused of a gruesome dating app attack has been indicted by a grand jury and faced a judge today for his arraignment. News 12's Blaze Gomez was in Orange County Court and has the very latest.
Prosecutors say 28-year-old Reggie Florence used the Grindr app to lure his victim and then laid out a plan to kill. We were there when Florence was led into court in handcuffs and shackles and inside as he pleaded not guilty to an indictment handed up by an Orange County grand jury. He's charged with attempted murder and assault. Prosecutors say he invited the victim to his Sutton Hill apartment where knives were strategically placed. A blanket was under the victim for easy cleanup and a bucket, mop, and bleach were ready. Prosecutors say he stabbed the victim in the neck during a back massage, then in the eye, chest, and abdomen. The victim lost his right eye, suffered a collapsed lung, and nearly had his spinal cord severed. No word yet on a motive. We asked Florence outside of court if he had anything to say, but he had no comment.
A Jacksonville man is on trial accused of shooting a man that he met on an online app Grindr over a dinner bill. Investigators say the two met that day, but the night ended in gunfire. Action News Jack's Yona Gavino is live outside of the Duval County Courthouse. She sat in on those opening statements.
Tanika, this case that started today is raising renewed questions about the safety of online dating. In this incident, the victim walked away, but not after he was shot, left with 3 bullet holes, all for refusing to pay for dinner.
He went on a date that almost became the date that would be on his tombstone, when at the hands of this defendant, he was almost killed.
It started as a bowling alley date arranged on the LGBTQ dating site Grindr. But prosecutors say Jamal Moreland turned violent, shooting his date multiple times after an argument over who would pay for his food. According to police, the male victim picked up Moreland in February 2023, and they went to a bowling alley, then a liquor store. At some point, Moreland ordered food and wanted the victim to pay. When he refused, police say the argument escalated. The victim told detectives he dropped Moreland off, but later picked him up again after Moreland asked for $45 because he had just gotten a ticket. Moments later, prosecutors say Moreland opened fire inside the victim's truck, hitting him in the arm and chest.
It pierces Mr. Zay's skin, going through his arm, into his side, piercing blood, going into his organs.
Your job is ultimately to weigh that evidence. And we are confident that at the end of the trial, as you weigh the evidence, you will be left with doubts. Doubts that are based in reason and doubts that are based in common sense.
The victim managed to drive away, but crashed into a ditch before being rushed to the hospital. Surveillance video and shell casings tied Moreland to the shooting.
Escondido police are asking for the public's help to identify potential victims of a man accused of sexually assaulting other men he met on the dating app Grindr. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Police say the suspect would lure his victims by pretending to be someone else. CBS 8's David Gofferson obtained court records that say the man was squatting in the apartment where the alleged assaults took place.
This is cell phone video recorded Friday afternoon showing the arrest of 28-year-old Tobias Bartee at the Forest Glen apartment complex in Escondido.
I saw a full SWAT vehicle with guys in armored vests and guns.
Neighbors say the SWAT officers fired a flashbang grenade at the apartment before Bartee surrendered, asking police, "What did I do?"
You know, I didn't know what it was at first. I threw it up on the patio there and it was super loud and my kids got scared and everything, but yeah, it was crazy.
Police served this search warrant on the house after getting complaints from 4 different men who said Bartee catfished them on the dating app Grindr, pretending to be a white male who wanted to hook up.
What he would say is that he had a roommate who was a white male adult and he was in the apartment or he wasn't home and they could come on in. And then when the individual came in, they realized that there wasn't anybody else there, and that's when the assaultive behavior occurred.
Escondido police say Bartee threatened 2 of the men with a gun, forcibly kissing one man and sexually assaulting another. Court records show Bartee is on felony probation for drug-related offenses, and police believe there could be more victims out there.
The usage of the particular social media hookup site and his effort to connect with individuals for the purposes of sexual contact, and that coupled with any potential drug use, it creates a volatile situation for anyone.
The search warrant says Bartee was squatting in the Escondido apartment and the alleged assaults happened over the past 4 months.
It's not a crime if you want to go out and interact with somebody or pursue a sexual relationship, but there's substantial risks in doing so. And if you do intend to meet up, it's always advisable before you actually go to somebody's residence that you've never been to, maybe go to a public place where there's lots of people where you can interact with that person and get a better feel for who they are.
And Brandywine to explain what's going on here. Sierra.
Jim, just take a look at your screen. This is 26-year-old Rodney Richardson. He's accused of meeting his victims on a popular dating app, Tinder, and doing horrible things to them.
The message to anybody doing online dating or using an app to buy or sell, first do it in a public place, have the meeting in a public place. Second thing is tell a friend, a family member, what times you're going to be meeting a person, where you're going to be meeting them, and even maybe offer the ability for them to track your phone while you are encountering another individual that you do not know.
We want to warn you, these details are disturbing. According to court documents, Richardson used the fake name Joe on Tinder. Back on February 2nd, a man picked up Richardson and drove him to Horseshoe Road in Brandywine, Maryland. A detective says they stepped out of the SUV to smoke weed and talk. Then shortly after, Richardson allegedly asked the victim for his cell phone. He complied. Then Richardson is accused of taking out a silver handgun, pointing it at him and demanding his wallet. Richardson asked the victim for his debit card PIN number, then drove off in his 2019 white Subaru Forester. Days later, on February 12th, Richardson met up with another man he met on Tinder outside a church before bringing him over to his house. Soon after, Richardson allegedly tied the victim's hands, told him to lay down in the trunk, and asked if he had AIDS before him at gunpoint. Legal filings say the attacker watched the man all night. The next day, Richardson allegedly forced the victim to drive him to his bank and take out $4,500. People who live in the area say this is disturbing.
It's awful, whether it's a man, raping another man or a man raping a woman. It's horrible. It's a scary place we live in now. It seems like we can't go anywhere without something happening.
Unfortunately, police do believe there are more victims out there. They understand people may be hesitant to come forward after experiencing a traumatic situation like this, but they would like to hear from you. Back to you.
Well, a Tampa man was found dead inside his home. His accused killer was discovered hiding under a living room couch. Police arrested Lazaro Martinez and charged him with first-degree murder. And the details of this crime are chilling. Fox 13's Gloria Gomez joins us live from the newsroom tonight. So, Gloria, what did you find out about this case?
You know, you're right. The details of this case are horrific, and we found out that a lot of it was caught on video.
That's pretty alarming.
Mark Sadik is still in shock over the gruesome murder of his neighbor, Robert O'Connor.
A little bit concerning. You know, this is a quiet neighborhood that we live in, quiet street, especially being right next to the police station and fire station. So to hear something like that going on just a few houses down is pretty scary and concerning.
This 3-bedroom home on East O'Cara Road in Tampa was the scene of a horrific murder, and police have arrested 25-year-old Lazaro Martinez on first-degree murder. Police say O'Connor and Martinez met on Grindr, a gay dating website. On November 7th, they met at O'Connor's home. Investigators say the two had sex, and later when O'Connor asked Martinez to leave, there was a fight between the two. Documents show the murder was caught on home surveillance video. They say it captures Martinez strangling O'Connor and standing on his throat until his body goes limp. Records show Martinez mutilates the body with a large kitchen knife. 4 days later, Connor's co-workers find his body wrapped in a blanket in a bedroom, while police say Martinez was discovered hiding under a couch in a room. Police arrested Martinez and spent 3 days processing a bloody scene.
Yeah, there was police cars all up and down the street. They had the whole street taped off so you couldn't even drive down. You had a detour to go around.
Yet many neighbors never heard or saw anything.
Yeah, I had no idea that was even happening. Didn't hear anything. I spoke to a couple neighbors and they didn't hear anything or see anything suspicious. So that's pretty alarming to hear that they were basically disposed of that way.
Martinez remains in the Hillsborough County Jail. He wants out of jail. There will be a bond hearing on Friday. We will let you know what the judge decides. Back to you, Allie.
All right, Gloria Gomez in our newsroom tonight. Gloria, thank you.
12 people, all Salisbury University students, are now accused of luring a gay man under false pretenses to an off-campus apartment complex and attacking him. Mark Delancey is a leader in the Salisbury LGBTQ community.
This is basically a hate crime, and people are victim shaming.
Police charging documents indicate the victim, who are not identifying, answered a solicitation for sex with a 16-year-old on the dating app Grindr. Under Maryland law, 16 is a consensual age for sex.
If they're trying to play catch a predator or be a good Samaritan, they should have held him there and waited for the police to do their job. 11
News Investigates has viewed disturbing video of the assault allegedly taken by one of those in attendance. It shows the victim getting kicked, punched, and spat on. On video, they repeatedly called him derogatory names. For an unexplained reason, they force him to read a handwritten weather forecast into a cell phone camera. When the victim attempted to leave, he was grabbed by multiple people and thrown to the ground.
They beat, abused, and humiliated and broke a rib and assaulted him, which crossed the line.
Police charging documents reveal a planned attack. As the victim entered the apartment, one of the suspects yelled, "Yee, yee." Then as many as 15 college-age males came out from the back bedrooms. The Wicomico State's Attorney's Office expects more arrests.
Hate has absolutely no place at Salisbury University.
Some who tell me tonight they are afraid and anxious just to attend class. Organizers say a huge part of tonight's Unity Walk and Vigil is for the LGBTQ community and their allies to create a space for healing and to show support for the student community. Now, the vigil started at 3 o'clock in the main plaza of the university called the Square. It was followed by a walk around the perimeter of the school. The university president, along with other faculty members, a Salisbury City Council president, and an LGBTQ advocacy group shared remarks about this being a time of reflection, time of healing, bringing about change to a school they say does not tolerate hate. Here's the university's president.
We've witnessed divisive actions, hurtful, violent actions that aim to undermine the sense of belonging that we are working so hard to build here.
Now, this all comes after 12 students at the Salisbury University between the ages of 18 and 21 were arrested and charged with hate crimes. Several are from our area, including 2 from Crofton, 1 from Elk Ridge, 1 from Olney. Police say on October 15th, they beat a man who's not a student because of his sexual orientation, all while using derogatory language. Apparently, police have video evidence of the incident as well. One of the suspects reportedly created a profile on a gay dating app to lure the victim to an apartment. The victim suffered bruising, a broken rib, and sought medical attention. Now, the university president said in the coming days they plan to form a dedicated task force on LGBTQ+ inclusiveness. And she said the students arrested have been placed on suspension, meaning they are restricted from campus, unable to participate in academic coursework. And some of the students, by the way, are members of Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity. That fraternity has been placed on suspension as well. I have reached out to at least one of the defense attorneys for the students. I'm waiting to hear back.
Now at 11, several South Florida men kidnapped and robbed after using a popular dating app. The convicted attacker admitting he targeted his victims because they were gay. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Trina Robinson.
And I'm Jackie Nesbrow. Nico Clemens is live in Miami. And Nico, you spoke with that man's mother?
I did. His name is Stevenson Charles. His mom didn't have much to say, didn't want to go on camera, but now she's waiting to learn her son's fate. But you too, these incidents, these crimes are not uncommon. We see it happen from time to time, people using social media apps to rob and hurt people. And police say Stevenson, he was doing this on several occasions.
What we have to apply are simple safety rules of engagement.
He's accused of going on a hate-fueled robbery and kidnapping spree. Now, 21-year-old Stevenson Charles faces life in prison. Charles pled guilty in federal court, admitting he targeted gay men on Grindr, a social networking app for gay, bi, trans, and queer people. Frank Fernandez is a crime and safety expert and spent more than 30 years in law enforcement in South Florida.
Allow time to convince you that that person on the other end of that social media is someone that you want to go and meet in person.
Well, court documents say from the dating app, Charles would arrange to meet with these men. This is actually one of the meeting locations. And that's when things took a violent turn.
Don't trust, number one. Allow time to be your friend. And number two, make sure you don't give out any personal private information.
Federal prosecutors say Charles carjacked, kidnapped, and robbed 5 men last year. During one meetup in October, court documents say a man went to Charles's home to have sex, and Charles pulled a gun on him. He forced the man to drive to a couple ATMs and withdraw more than $1,000. Prosecutors say in November he pulled a gun on another man and told him he, quote, hated gay people and believed they should be punished. They say Charles later shot the man several times, once in the head. That man was able to call 911 and survived. Fernandez says the number one rule when communicating with anyone through social media, trust your gut and use common sense. And if you are going to meet with someone,
If it's in a public place, I would even say bring a friend with you for the first meet. Don't do it alone. During the daytime hours.
A series of crimes with a concerning pattern.
Criminals targeting gay men looking for a partner on the dating app Grindr. CBS 46's Megan Packer joins us live in Northwest Atlanta with a message from police. Megan.
Yeah, Sean and Rick, good evening. They want victims who are out there to come forward. We are at APD's Zone 1 precinct on Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. This is the part of Atlanta where they're seeing a lot of these crimes be reported. In fact, 8 of them in just the past few months. This is one person Atlanta police say is behind a troubling trend catching their attention. They need help tracking him down.
The suspect typically takes them in a remote location within that area, in that vicinity, and then proceeds with the robbery.
Since February, they've investigated 8 robberies where the victims met the suspect or suspects on Grindr, which calls itself the world's largest social networking app for gay, bi, trans, and queer people. There's at least one suspect out there, maybe more, meeting up with men. After a date, police say the suspect armed with a gun takes the victim's wallet, keys, and sometimes car. Police say this video shows the suspect getting into a victim's car before stealing it at gunpoint. The suspect or suspects have also used these pictures on the app, but police do not know if that's a real picture of the offender.
We treat everybody with dignity, and we just ask that we want to stop these crimes that's been done to our sometimes vulnerable population for the city of Atlanta.
It's an MO police have seen before. 2 men are currently serving time for a 2016 murder in Union City after reportedly meeting the victim on Grindr. Regarding these recent Atlanta crimes, Grindr sent CBS 46 a statement that says, in part, "We are always saddened to hear about difficult experiences our community members have both online and off." They go on to say, Grindr also encourages users to be careful when interacting with people they do not know and to report improper or illegal behavior. The Atlanta Police LGBT liaison says they'll work with other possible victims who are hesitant to come forward.
Find a friend or somebody that you trust, right? And they're more than welcome to come in to make a statement with you, as well as give us a call. We can meet you where you are.
And again, police just want to hear from you if you have been a victim of this crime. When it comes to meeting people on apps, they also want you to stay safe. They say tell a trusted friend if you're going to meet up with someone and try to meet in a public place whenever possible. Reporting in Atlanta, I'm Megan Packer, CBS 46 News.
Megan.
A Pasco County man says he was held at gunpoint, tied up and robbed by a man he met on the Grindr app.
The suspect in the case is now in custody. Chip Osowski joins us now live from the Courtney Campbell Causeway where the suspect was caught. Chip.
Well, good evening to you both. An alert Tampa police officer spotted 34-year-old John Creighton here on the Courtney Campbell Causeway on Monday night, driving the victim's stolen Honda. He stopped him and arrested him. According to this arrest affidavit right here, also in that car, the officer found a gun loaded with 9 rounds.
I was tied up, but I was on the floor with my hands and knees kind of tied to these bedposts.
Brian didn't want to show his face, but tells me he invited 34-year-old John Creighton into his home after meeting him on Grindr.
We just really hung out, chatted a little bit. He was on his phone, I'm on his phone, on his phone, I'm on my phone. I was getting kind of bored. He's just staring at his phone. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he'll leave soon. And then I saw him like lean over. I thought, okay, maybe he's getting his bag. He's gonna go. Next thing I know, go to your room. Regular belt. He tied around my ankles, and then he tied the belts up around the bedpost. So I mean, my leg was like up there. I couldn't even move. Then he got like ties and like cloth belts that goes with shorts. He tied me up with that.
Court documents indicate Creighton slammed Brian's head to the ground and then demanded his valuables.
He made me write down the PIN numbers for my debit card. There's nothing on my credit cards. I told him I can show you on the app that there's no money on there. I can show you what's on there. And I could hear him rummage around through. You don't have a safe, everybody has a safe.
Creighton eventually leaves in Brian's car. Brian tells 8 on Your Side his horrifying story should be a warning to everyone on social media.
Anybody, it doesn't have to be just a gay guy. It could be a teenager, somebody just trying to get a date. Even if you meet up with someone, you just never know.
And Creighton has a lengthy arrest record. Deputies are holding him at the Hillsborough County Jail on a $324,000 bond. Reporting live in Tampa, I'm Chip Osowski, 8 on Your Side.